Hi, I'm Dave Scott, and I'm here with my super son, Drew. He's right here. He's going to talk here in just a second, Drew. Don't jump in yet. We're at the Four Seasons for the new Dave Scott Multisport Institute. And Drew's out here training with his contingent, and we've had a nice time here at the Four Seasons. But we thought we'd cover a few hot topics, and one of the hot topics is the Ironman run. And when we look at the marathon on the end, obviously there's a big swing in performance times and talent in the run. You know, we're seeing the athletes that are extraordinary going into the event. Their 70.3 run times are off the charts, and obviously the dynamics have changed quite a bit since my heyday and what the athletes are doing now. And I just wanted to throw it back to you, Drew. What are your thoughts on the Ironman run, and really specifically here in Kona, because we're seeing great times around the world, but Kona, really not as stellar as at least what I think they should be.
I think from when I first got into the sport to now racing, the bike has certainly become more explosive, and I think everyone's sort of been forced to up their game on the bike, and as a result of this, I think guys are going into the run maybe a bit more cooked, or either having ridden the bike, maybe not how they would ideally ride it, if they were just out time trialing. So I think, especially in Kona, the conditions are hot, it's humid, it's the end of the year. There's really a small percentage that are running sort of to their ability, I think, and I would say most of the guys would agree with that, and women. So it's always interesting to see who can manage the bike in Kona and sort of how they fare coming onto the run.
It's interesting, Drew, there's such a massive fall off in attrition on the run, and you see the athletes that are pretty close together on the bike sort of volleying back and forth, as you said, accelerating maybe too hard and holding that high end, trying to get away at different moments, and then they come in, they're seemingly together, but I've been on elite drive, I've certainly been on the bike, watching them, even in the first 5K of the run, they're just smashed, and there's no coming back, and you're seeing these great runners really falter, and then there's others that get out here on the Queen K, and anywhere between 10K to 20K, they look pretty good, and then wham, they just all start to fall apart. So it is interesting, that ability to sustain that speed, which I'd like to see them run, because from Jan Frodeno all the way down, there's about a dozen of them that are amazing runners.
There's 25 plus guys probably on the start list in Kona that have run 240 something off the bike, and yet when Kona rolls around, there's maybe 5 at most that run under 250.
I know you have raced a lot of hot races. You've done a number down in Mexico, and it's always a little bit tricky, but do you have any tips for the amateurs that are coming here to deal with the heat on the run?
Well, I think certainly the days leading in, you want to run early in the morning or later in the afternoon, just to pick the cooler parts of the day, and it's less stress on your body. You can save that for race day, running at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think in the hotter races I've done where it's quite humid, Cozumel, I've done that a number of times, and a lot of races in Mexico, I think early on in the run, just being really conscious at all the aid stations to get as much fluid as possible, just even dumping it on your head. I'll on the warm races, I'll grab literally every cup I can.
Well, now wait a second. You just told them to get as much as they can in, but you're saying pour it on themselves.
Well, yeah,
you don't want to keep sucking down fluid. That's
not drinking. I'm saying you want to be grabbing as much fluid, dumping it on your head. You're not, you don't want to be drinking every cup of water you can find, but certainly just staying cool and being cognizant of how warm it is early on in the run can help quite a bit.
We've got to give them good advice, Drew. We're not, they're not camels out here, so we don't want to say, just
don't suck down 80 ounces.
Yeah, we just don't want to take down an infinite amount. But I think your advice of trying to cool yourself down, you got the technical side. You have thermoreceptors that run down your back. You put it on your forearm. You're dumping yourself, trying to cool yourself off. A lot of the jerseys are breathable, so you keep that wet, and it maybe lowers your internal thermostat a little bit, and certainly psychologically it helps. Drew, just kind of jumping topics, is there like one key workout? Because I get this question all the time. I really don't know how to answer. That's why I'm throwing it to my son. I said, is there one key run workout that you are possibly doing right now that really is kind of a barometer of your fitness that says, man, this one really tells me I'm ready?
I think for me, the key session that gives me the most confidence running is is a tempo run. So, you know, it can be anywhere from, you know, you could be a 45-minute run to up to 90 minutes, and it's I'll usually do 2 blocks within that 90 minutes where I'm sustaining close to my, I'll say, you know, 70.3 race pace or so, and it's quite a challenging workout, and it's not one you can do every week, but usually when you really nail a session like that, it gives me a lot of confidence in what I'm capable of on race day, and I think you finish a session like that, and you know what you can do. Yeah, I do most of my training in the Clifton 3s. They've worked really well for me, and I've sort of been wearing them, you know, since the initial Clifton came out. And then most of my races, I've worn the Clayton for the last 2 years or so, and really like that shoe. It fits my foot well. It's got a wide foot base, which works well for me, and it's a really light shoe. So yeah, it's great for racing, and then I also use the Clayton for, you know, any of my harder sessions, sometimes on the track or you know, tempo runs or anything like that.
Drew, even the older folks like the Clifton 3s, and I've got a group, as you know, in Boulder, and we have everyone wearing the Hokas. I like the Clifton 3, as I said, and I also like the Vanquish, and that's what I kind of run in. And the Clayton has a wider toe box, as you mentioned, and that one actually feels good on me. It certainly looks good when I'm walking around the Four Seasons, because people are going, wow, look at that guy's shoe, that's awesome. Okay, everyone, from the Dave Scott Multisport Institute at the Four Seasons in Hualalai. Drew, we've got to get our swim done. We've got a full agenda today, still exercising a bit. Hope to see some of you back here in Kona, and maybe out on the Queen K, which we've been on a couple times. You've been on more times than I have. Anyway, thanks for your time. We'll be back soon.